When you tell people you're an actor in Australia, the first question you get asked is, what have you been in? And the second question is, have you been in Home and Away? To which I would answer, respectively, none of your business and yes. Blue Heelers was a police drama that was on air for 12 years, and it was great for actors in the Australian TV industry who didn't look like Victoria's Secret models but wanted to get some exposure on TV. Aside from the core cast of police officers, each week saw a new group of characters come and go on the show. Criminals, victims, local shop owners, and a random dog. It was great. A heap of talented actors and a ton of shit ones got to sink their teeth into scripts, playing the pivotal characters for that week's episode, allowing them to hold their heads high that Christmas when annoying aunties would ask if they had done any real acting yet. The situation was similar on All Saints, Australia's second longest running medical drama. I like to think of it as Grey's Anatomy meets ER, only George Clooney and McDreamy forgot to show up for their shifts. The setting of the show originated in Ward 17, where a core cast of doctors and nurses pretended not to want to have sex with each other. Then it moved to the emergency room, opening up the possibility for a lot more guest roles and semi-regular gigs for us actors. And this is where I met the late, great Mark Priestley. In 2004, I was working at a really shitty dress shop in Balmain, not the European brand pronounced Balmain, rather a suburb in the inner west of Sydney that houses fancy restaurants, excellent coffee, and a bevy of awesome, charismatic homeless men. Two of my favourites were DJ Darling Street and Michael, a gentleman who always wore a suit soiled with urine, his own, slept out the front of the police station, and at least once a week would walk down the main street of Balmain, waving around a wad of $50 notes and shouting, "Yep, that's fucking right, my bitches," to the tune of Elvis's Blue Suede Shoes. Balmain was awesome. It's the first place RP and I lived together. Our house was small and didn't really have a floor. There was carpet, but there wasn't much under it. We loved it there. On New Year's Eve, the place was sectioned off because the main street led down to Sydney Harbour and uninterrupted views of the Harbour Bridge, where at midnight, millions of dollars worth of fireworks would light up the city. So Balmain was a sought-after location on New Year's Eve. The only way in or out was to show the traffic controller your ID and address. Fancy. It was a magical suburb that you never had to leave. So when I scored a job at the local shitty clothing store, I was stoked. After working in the clothing store for about 6 months, I got an audition for All Saints as paramedic Bree Matthews. My audition consisted of dramatic looks off camera and made-up medical jargon. It was a guest role, just one episode, and I nailed it. I managed to flesh it out for 4 years, a semi-regular gig. Not because I'm a magical unicorn actor who can turn dust into an Oscar speech. We all know that only Marion Cotillard can do that. But because I can hustle. I really respect the hustle. I believe Madonna to be the originator. She's not a great singer or dancer, but that hustler deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for her services to the hustle. She has turned it into a career move. Think Lisa Rinna. Her hustle has become talking about what a hustler she is. Respect. I worked that All Saints set and my professional relationships much like Britney works in autotune, and I succeeded continuing to make up medical jargon alongside some of my most favourite actors. I was finally contracted as a main character 6 weeks before the show was cancelled. Red, frustrated face emoji. Mark played Nurse Dan Goldman. I don't remember the first time I met him, as I don't really remember a time without him in my life. He got me. He knew what I was capable of as an actor before I even knew it. We would fuck around on set all the time, doing everything we could to put each other off. I was always worried I was going to get fired, but he never cared if he pissed people off. No one would ever fire Mark because he was Mark, a creative genius who would throw a pencil in your face 5 seconds before the director called action. Then as soon as the camera rolled, he would lovingly kiss an elderly character on the forehead and say his final goodbye, having everyone in tears and unable to move on to the next scene. He was a comic genius and made me feel like I was one too. At one stage during my stint on All Saints, I was performing in a low-budget, not-for-profit theatre show, Boy Band, in which I played the band's choreographer. Did I mention I used to dance?